The members of Delta Squad were briefed on a secret mission where they needed to extract a certain document by the name of WM-163. The documents would be handed over to the rebels upon extraction, and in case the commandos would be caught, no one would accuse the rebel faction. They would be deployed on an Imperial Star Destroyer during the battle above Kashyyyk. The battle would be led by Commander Cody, who gave green light for the fleet to advance on the enemy. Several Imperial Star Destroyers, freighters, and dreadnoughts had gathered to await the Republic's advance. The Republic fired first as the Imperials were still maneuvering to attack position. The Republic unleashed its fighters to take out those of the enemy and hit any bearing weak points on the enemy's larger ships. Both fleets were hit hard by blaster fire and missiles. The fighters were small and nimble, making them difficult to hit by the turrets. As the distance between the two opposing fleets grew smaller, the damage dealt became greater. The Empire lost its first Star Destroyer, as its shields gave way to the Republic's firepower. Amongst the chaos, several fighters engaged with each other in brutal dogfights. The Imperial TIE Defenders managed to keep a lot of the Republic's fighters at bay. The Republic was relentless, as they shot everything they got towards the Imperial forces. But the Empire answered with blood, as several of the Republic ships were destroyed during the approach. Amongst the titanious ships, the small fighters still played their part. Another one of the Imperial Star Destroyers had endured so much devastation that it was shredded to bits. The Republic fleet had reached the Empires, and fighting would now occur parallel of each other. At this distance, and with the cover of chaos, it was easy for the Republic to bring the commandos of Delta Squad on one of the Star Destroyers in the lines at the rear. Because most Imperial troops were ordered to their battle stations to fend off the Republic fleet, most of the hallways were abandoned. A perfect opportunity for Delta Squad to extract a package under the Imperials' noses. As the members Boss, Fixer, Scorch, and Sev left the cover of the Imperial cargo bay, they caught a glimpse of two stormtroopers in the next hallway. They were instructed to proceed with stealth, but the two stormtroopers were blocking the path. Boss considered using violence, but by a stroke of luck the stormtroopers were requested elsewhere, and the commandos could proceed unseen. The room along the hallway had a few engineers and officers in them, but the clones managed to run past them as well as they were occupied. They had to dodge an incoming group of stormtroopers headed towards their battle stations. All members managed to mostly remain unseen, and when one did get caught, a swift strike was all it took to silence the enemy. Boss, Scorch, and Fixer had found the intel room, but a large group of stormtroopers was patrolling the hall in front of it. By chance, Sev had spotted several Wookiee prisoners held by the Empire, and he radioed in that releasing them would create a distraction to avert the enemy's eyes from the intel room. Boss agreed with the plan, and it was easy for Fixer to overturn the prison controls and release the Wookiees. Once released, they immediately ran for their weapons as they took out the guards. Shortly after, stormtroopers entered the area and a fight broke out. The first stormtroopers who entered got killed easily, but more and more joined the fight and managed to force the Wookiees into a different room. The distraction worked, and Seth awaited the others at the entrance of the intel room. Security was at a minimum, and Delta quickly took care of the ones remaining. Fixer quickly got seated behind a terminal and started copying the file. The rest of Delta's squad stood guard outside as it would take a while. In the other hall, some of the Wookiees took parts of the Imperial armor as protection. They managed to take out many stormtroopers, but their numbers seemed infinite. In the end, the Wookiees were defeated by the overwhelming force. Fixer saw on one of the terminals incoming stormtroopers and warned the others to set up defensive positions. The commandos tried to keep the approaching stormtroopers at bay. Seth was hit and needed to briefly retreat to heal at a backup tank. Fixer was almost done retrieving the files when he saw on a different terminal that an AT-ST accompanied by stormtroopers was heading their way from the rear. Alongside their approaching route, Fixer saw 2 Imperial turrets. It would not take much for him to reroute the turret's protocols to fire on Imperial troops. The powerful blast by the turrets launched the AT-ST in the air, crushing several stormtroopers when it got back down. The stormtroopers were getting closer, but Boss, Sev, and Scorch still managed to hold them off. Fixer had finally got the necessary documents, and Boss ordered the team to retreat. Fixer started an override of the destroyer's core, eventually leading to self-destruction. As the 4 members of Delta ran to the escape pods, the ship started to tear apart, blasting its crew to pieces. Delta managed to extract in the nick of time, as the destroyer erupted in a ball of fire. The fighting between the 2 fleets still raged on, as the opposite sides closed the distance. Republic Venator destroyers and Acclamator assault ships surrounded the Imperial fleet, as they unleashed utter hell. Though the Imperials had lost most of its ships, the deadly dreadnoughts managed to deal out incredible damage from this close distance. One single dreadnought managed to destroy multiple Republic ships. The Republic threw everything it got at the dreadnought, but sustained heavy losses as ship after ship got blown to bits. The Republic fleet maneuvered under the dreadnought to bombard it from all sides, and though the dreadnought managed to take a whole lot of punishment, it finally got obliterated by the Republic. All that was left was a single Star Destroyer that had no chance against the Republic's forces. Silence finally returned. The Republic decided to use the planet Trandosha as their base of operations to send troops to nearby Kashyyyk. The Trandoshans would allow the Republic military access in return for credits. The Republic knew that part of the credits would eventually end up in the hands of the Hutt cartel or even Imperials, but that was a sacrifice they were willing to take. On Kashyyyk, an aerial attack seemed no option as the Imperials set up anti-air defenses. The first wave of clone troopers were deployed on Kashyyyk via Trandosha as an all-out amphibious assault was about to occur. Infantry would hit the Imperial beaches with boats and amphibious walkers, while being supported by a vast array of assault walkers in armor. But the Imperials were waiting for the troops to arrive as they were dug in behind barricades and turrets with deadly walkers on the lines at the rear. For the first time in history, clones and stormtroopers were about to clash.